When Bob Chambers abducts his daughter in a desperate bid to escape his troubled past, a harrowing road trip across New Zealand unfolds. But Bob isn't just running from the law. He's running from himself. Guided by the cryptic Sherleaf, a spirit that promises redemption, Bob must battle his inner darkness and prove he's worthy of a second chance. J. Pilgrim Shurleaf is a heart-pounding drama that tests the limits of love, loyalty, and redemption. Chapter 12. The truth comes out. The car pulled into the underground garage of the Auckland Central Police Station. The officers got out, opening Bob's door and pulling him to his feet. The cold air bit against his skin as they led him toward the entrance. "Be smart, Chambers," the graying officer warned. "Keep your mouth shut, and maybe things won't get worse for you." Bob didn't respond. His thoughts were racing, his heart pounding. He had come this far. He wasn't going to give up now. As they pushed him through the doors, the fluorescent lights above buzzed faintly. The station smelled of coffee, damp uniforms, and paperwork. Officers milled about, filling out reports, answering phones. The air was thick with the hum of bureaucracy. A desk sergeant glanced up as they approached. "Robert Chambers, huh? Quite the journey you've had. Let's get you processed." Bob inhaled deeply, his mind already working. These were the final few hours of his allotted time to reunite his family. All he could think about was his daughter, Mary. He would find a way to reach her. Bob sat on a hard metal bench, wrists cuffed in front of him, his body still aching from the taser hit. The station buzzed around him. Phones ringing, officers moving between desks, a suspect loudly protesting his arrest in the next room. The fluorescent lights overhead cast a harsh, sterile glow over everything. A young officer, barely out of training by the looks of him, sat across from Bob with a clipboard. "Robert Chambers," he said, reading from the file. "You've had quite the journey, haven't you?" Bob said nothing, staring at a scuff mark on the floor. "Your daughter is with a caseworker from Tamariki," the officer continued, flipping a page. "Her mother's been notified and is on her way here now." Bob's head snapped up. "Kate's coming here?" The officer nodded. "That's right. She's expected at the station any minute now." Bob exhaled, running a hand over his face. He wasn't sure if he felt relief or dread. "Can I see Mary?" he asked. The officer gave him a look. "Not up to me, mate. That'll be decided after we process you." Bob clenched his jaw. Processed. Like he was some package being sorted. As they fingerprinted him, took his mugshot, and placed him in a holding cell, Bob's thoughts drifted. He replayed the journey over and over in his mind. The back roads, the near misses, Mary's laughter at something stupid he said, the quiet moments when she had started to trust him. And now? She was alone with a stranger, probably thinking he had failed her. Well, at least Kate was on her way here. Bob leaned back against the cold wall of his cell, his mind racing. The weight of the journey, of everything he had risked, pressed against his chest like an iron hand. He had come so far, convinced that some force, some fate, Shurleaf, was guiding him. But now, at the most crucial moment, he was alone. Where was Shurleaf now? Where was the cryptic wisdom, the guiding hand? Bob had spent days feeling like he had a purpose, like this journey meant something more than just running. But sitting in a holding cell, handcuffed, helpless, he felt like the same failure he had always been. Was it all a joke? He muttered to himself, "A test I was always meant to fail?" He stared up at the ceiling, his jaw tightening. He had trusted that if he followed the path, he would end up where he needed to be. But now, Mary was out there alone, Kate was coming, and he had no control over what happened next. "If you're still out there, Shurleaf," Bob whispered, his voice almost breaking, "give me something. Anything." Silence. Bob exhaled sharply, shaking his head. Figures. For the first time in days, he truly felt lost. Bob's wrists ached from the tightness of the cuffs that had only recently been removed. The station was a blur of movement and noise, but none of it felt real. His thoughts were clouded, his body heavy with exhaustion. Through the bars of the cell, he saw a flurry of motion near the entrance. He looked up just as Kate walked in. Her posture was stiff, her expression unreadable, until her eyes landed on him. Pure fury, her lips pressed into a thin line, her nostrils flaring. She didn't say a word, but Bob heard the accusation loud and clear. "How could you, Bob?" Before he could open his mouth, an officer placed a gentle hand on Kate's arm, guiding her toward the back of the station. "Mrs. Chambers, if you'll come with me, the caseworker, Angela, is waiting with Mary." Kate lingered for a second longer, her gaze cutting into him like a blade. Then, without a word, she turned and followed the officer. Bob exhaled sharply, slumping back against the cold concrete wall. Where is the damn spirit guide when I need him? Nothing. No flicker of white light. No cryptic wisdom. Just the sterile hum of fluorescent lights and the distant sound of someone being booked at the front desk. Figures. Kate and Mary reunite. Kate stepped into the small interview room, her heart pounding. Mary sat at a metal table, arms wrapped around herself, eyes puffy from crying. Beside her, the caseworker, Angela, stood with stiff professionalism. Mary looked up at her mother, relief washing over her face. "Mom," Kate rushed forward, kneeling beside her daughter and pulling her into a tight hug. "Oh, sweetheart, I've been so worried. Are you okay?" "Did he?" She hesitated, swallowing. "Did your father hurt you?" Mary pulled away, frowning. "What? No, Mom, he didn't kidnap me." "They are saying that Dad kidnapped me. He was taking me to you." Kate leaned back, searching Mary's face for any sign of distress. "Then why did the police say?" "Because no one believes us." Mary snapped. "They just assumed." Kate blinked, taken aback by the frustration in her daughter's voice. "Tell me everything." Mary inhaled deeply. "Dad found me in the waiting room. I was with Tricia, and she went to the bathroom. He saw me alone and he talked to me. He said he was taking me to you, that he wanted to fix things. I chose to go with him." Kate glanced at Angela, who stepped forward slightly. "I am Angela, a Ministry for Children case manager," she said, her tone professional. Angela was a woman of European descent in her 50s, with blonde hair showing signs of gray. She continued, "It has all the hallmarks of Bob, your husband, taking the child under duress." The caseworker looked genuinely regretful. "Kate, I need to apologize. Losing Mary in the Wellington hospital should never have happened. There is an internal investigation underway, and we are reviewing protocols to ensure it doesn't happen again." Kate looked up, confused. "What's this about the hospital?" Angela hesitated before continuing. "The Wellington police report states that Bob was involved in a serious accident in Johnsonville before all of this happened. He was hit by a car and was in a coma. He must have revived, unnoticed, and he took Mary from the waiting room foyer. He stole the carer's car." Kate's breath caught. "What? No one told me about an accident," Angela nodded. "According to the records, the Wellington department left a message on your emergency contact number at the time." Kate shook her head. "No, I did not receive any message," Angela surmised. "Then, it seems it either wasn't received or was overlooked." Kate stood to her feet, shocked. "Your department failed to protect my daughter." Angela sighed, her tone turning more formal. "It is Bob who broke the law. He evaded police, stole vehicles, and put your daughter in danger. His intentions, whatever they be, don't erase those facts." Kate sighed, rubbing her temples as she said. "And now he's sitting in a jail cell." Mary's voice was quiet but firm. "He didn't run away this time, Mum. He brought me here. He didn't have to, but he did." Kate looked at her daughter, trying to reconcile this story with the man she had left behind. Bob had always been unreliable, always making excuses, always screwing up. But this wasn't the same tale of failure she had come to expect. Could he really have changed? Bob's reflection. Back in the cell, Bob stared at the floor, replaying every moment of the past few days. The laughter, the near misses, the way Mary had started to soften toward him. It had been a disaster in some ways, but it had also been the best thing he had done in years, and now it was over. Kate had every reason to hate him. The police had every reason to charge him. And Shurleaf? Nowhere to be found. Bob exhaled. Guess I really screwed it up this time. But then he thought of Mary. She had fought for him. She had stood up to the police. Maybe it wasn't over yet. Maybe he still had one last chance to make things right. The ghost angel. Back in the interview room, Mary hesitated, then took a deep breath. Mom, there's something else. Something important. Kate frowned. What is it? Mary glanced at Angela, then lowered her voice. Dad wasn't alone. He had help. Kate's stomach twisted. What do you mean? Mary swallowed. There was this spirit guide, a ghost angel or something. Dad called him Shurleaf. He told Dad what to do, where to go, and how to fix things between us. Kate's expression hardened. Mary, I know your father tells a lot of stories. It's not a story, Mary insisted. I think Dad was telling the truth. When we got stuck on the road, something always helped us. He said Shurleaf gave him a second chance. Kate looked at Angela, expecting skepticism. She wasn't disappointed. The caseworker exhaled sharply. Right, so now we are dealing with delusions as well as criminal activity. Kate rubbed her temples. I find all this difficult to accept, she said. Angela hesitated before continuing. Bob's claims about seeing an apparition might have a medical explanation. Bob was hit by a car and was in a coma. In all probability, he has sustained a head injury. Kate felt her hands tremble slightly. She eyed Angela. You think his hallucination comes from the accident? Angela nodded. Head trauma can cause vivid hallucinations, delusions, even changes in personality. It could explain everything he's been saying. Mary shook her head. At first, I did not believe him. But I am not so sure it was in his head. Kate felt overwhelmed. She looked at Angela. So what does this mean for him? Angela exhaled. It means he's not just facing legal consequences. He may need psychiatric evaluation as well. Mary frowned at her. My dad's not crazy. Angela pursed her lips. It sounds like Bob was hallucinating. Under extreme stress, people sometimes create. No, Mary interrupted. This was real. Dad changed. He was trying so hard to be better, and he said Shurleaf was helping him. Kate sat down in a chair, continuing to process all of this information. She looked at Mary. So, you're telling me your dad believes he was being guided by some angel? Mary nodded. Yes, and Mom. What if it's true? Kate inhaled sharply, caught between reason and the pleading look in her daughter's eyes. Angela sighed, looking at Kate. Regardless of what Mary believes, we need to address Bob's mental state. If he genuinely thinks he was getting instructions from the other side, that's concerning. Kate exhaled slowly as she asked Angela, So, what happens now? Angela straightened her blazer. The courts will decide. If Bob is ruled mentally unstable, they might push for psychiatric evaluation over prison time. Either way, this isn't something that disappears overnight. Kate's face paled. You're saying they might lock him up in some mental facility? Angela nodded. It's possible. Kate looked down, her mind racing. Bob had always been reckless, always lost. But what if, for the first time in his life, he had actually found something? And now, the system was going to take it away? Mary's voice wavered. Mom, you believe me, don't you? Kate didn't answer immediately. Because, for the first time, she wasn't sure what she believed at all. Hi. Before you watch the next chapter, remember to connect with J. Pilgrim. Discover the magic. Embrace the wisdom. Live the adventure. Explore the world of J. Pilgrim by checking out the links in the channel description. Also, remember that liking, subscribing, and sharing helps this channel reach more people who love fiction stories. See you in the next episode.